Hello, everyone. This is Kavi from TASSTA again, and I want to introduce you today to our partner Entel. From where we know Entel since a while because we are working very close together, and we have basically the hardware and software integration together. And so for that reason, this is a very special special webinar for me today because we never worked with any company so close in the hardware software integration, right? And today with me is Steve from Entel. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Kave.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, so Steve, today we are going to talk about your devices and what is Entel offering. I know Entel since, you are a quite old company in the radio market. So tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Entel was established in 1995. We have 3 offices globally now. Entel UK is our head office, and this is for distribution, sales, and support. Also, our R&D centres are based in the UK, in Elstree and in Cambridge. We also have our Entel factory in the Philippines. This is where we make all our products. It's wholly owned by Entel. It's not anybody else's factory. It's purely Entel's factory. And we also have distribution, sales, and support there too. And finally, we have Entel South Korea for sales, distribution, and support as well for the Far East.
Oh, that sounds huge. I mean, you said 1995, so if I count correctly, so it's 25 years now, and I didn't get an invite.
Yeah, I remember us celebrating 20 years, and didn't seem long ago. Time goes very quickly.
Perfect. And so principally you are all around the globe present, right? I mean, so you mentioned your development is in UK, but you have a factory on the Philippines and also in South Korea.
Yes. Almost all the development R&D is done in the UK. We have a little assistance in the factory too with R&D development, but it's mostly done in the UK, in Elstree and Cambridge.
Before we come to the main product for today, can you please tell us a little bit an overview of the product range, because I think it's very impressive what Entel is offering.
Thank you. So we traditionally have been with two-way radio products, VHF, UHF radios, starting with analog products for both land and marine. Marine is a very big market for us too. We more recently developed the new digital technologies, and we support both, as I say, marine and land products, but also regular radios and intrinsically safe radios for hazardous environments. So if you're working in an explosive atmosphere, oil rigs, for example, petroleum products, chemical products, then we have special radios for those applications too. And then, of course, very recently, in the last couple of years, we've developed our POC radios in conjunction with TASSTA.
Actually, when I remember exactly the first time you sent me a message and you asked for a cooperation, and you know, it was for me a good experience because I liked it that such a professional radio producer is coming to the POC LTE environment and giving the same touch and feel and the same experience also for the LTE users or the broadcast users. So so let's go to that device.
Sure.
Show us.
Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. Okay, that's the radio. This is actually developed from our DMR radio, so it's exactly the same looking, apart from the color of the label top, and it has all the same features. So this radio is IP68 submersible to 2 meters for 4 hours. It's built to mil standard 810 C, D, E, F, and G, so it's incredibly robust. And even the accessory connector on the side here, with the accessory cover off, the radio is still submersible. It's gold plated, so it's in, very high quality to ensure reliable performance. With many years of experience, we've learned how to make products very good.
What is so unique on that device? Let's say compared to to make the the point. Why should I?
Okay.
Why do I?
Well, I think the thing is, it's about robustness, quality, and performance. So we're using a Qualcomm chipset in this radio. This gives us, with our design, a very, very low latency. So we can achieve latencies very similar to DMR networks. So users of digital radio will hardly notice any difference in latency. What they will notice is a superior audio quality with POC. With the DN radio compared to DMR, it's just so much better. It sounds really good. We also get rapid network acquisition and reacquisition. So we support multi-network roaming SIMs. So this gives us the ability to improve coverage over other products, and also it gives you the robustness and the reliability of having multiple networks. If one network goes down completely, we can hop onto another network. So it gives you a lot of redundancy, which is a major benefit. Also, the DN radio has seamless handover between Wi-Fi and cellular. It doesn't drop the call. If you go from Wi-Fi to cellular or back again, it doesn't drop the call.
And coming back to the SIM you mentioned, does it mean that the device is coming including a SIM card, or can I choose my own SIM card, or how does it?
Sure. So it's offered with a SIM card in Europe. We have a European roaming SIM, and that SIM, for example, in the UK where we're based, it covers all 4 networks. So again, it gives you that redundancy, that performance enhancement. But of course, you can fit your own SIM too. We ship worldwide, and an EU roaming SIM is not much use in America, for example. It won't connect. So yes, you can use your own SIM.
Okay, so they are definitely it's easy to handle and put my own SIM card inside. So it's not mandatory to use the SIM card which is coming from your side.
Correct. At the moment, you have to dismantle the radio to put the SIM card inside. You have to undo the 2 screws on the back because it's IP68 submersible. It's very well sealed. So to put a SIM card in, you have to dismantle the radio. We've got a new version coming. We've redesigned, and that will have a SIM door on the back, which will maintain its waterproof integrity, but making it simpler to change the SIM.
Perfect. When does this new version come?
I think we're just waiting for a rolling change in production, so I'm not sure of the exact dates. Maybe sometime next year.
Okay, excellent. And so we are coming to the future products and developments later on. And so give us a little bit more, because I saw there are different kind of buttons and so on and on the device. So what the user can really do with that one?
Okay, so just to go through a few more things, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how well it's going to work on my webcam, but we've got a high contrast OLED display. So it's a white on black OLED display. This gives really good readability in all light conditions and at different angles. So it's a very good readable display. We do a lot with emergency services, and this was one of the key things they wanted, is something that's easy to read. We also have 3 watts of audio and a very high quality speaker. So we get exceptionally loud audio, not only incredibly clear and natural sounding, but very loud. Again, if you're working in a factory or if you're working in a noisy environment, you need a radio you can hear too. And this again goes back to what we've always done. If you're on board a ship, it's noisy. You need something that's really loud. And that's one thing that sets this radio apart from almost all others, is the quality of the audio. The level of audio is extremely good. One other thing,
that point I can also report from our users, because many times, for example, at the train station is a good sample we just had last week. That when the train is arriving, so it's impossible to hear anything. And they said, okay, but the radios I can hear. So give me the right device, and we proposed them Entel to be able to hear, because this is what we are seeing, that it is sometimes missing. Even the devices are looking like a radio, but the sound quality, it's that it is loud and crystal clear. That is, I would say, that is a point which is very, very unique with the Entel device.
Yeah, we take audio as one of the most important things. Well, it is the most important thing. If you can't hear radio, then it's not much use. So yeah, we focus on audio very much. We also, just talking about audio, when you connect an accessory to the radio tailors the audio to the accessory that's connected. We have many different accessories. We'll come on to that. But the radio automatically sets the correct microphone settings, the correct speaker settings to match exactly to the audio accessory. So again, we're focusing on audio all the time.
Okay, so give us what else the device says.
Okay, so it has all call, group calling, individual calling. It has caller ID, presence check, multiple receive groups, and unlike other radio technologies, it delivers virtually unlimited number of channels and unlimited number of simultaneous calls. If you've got 200 radios, you can have 100 simultaneous conversations. With other technologies, you're limited by the base stations. So this is a really big step forwards in radio technology.
And you can change the channels on the device, right? With a piece of,
So okay, we only have one channel for our demonstration, Kaveh. You caught me out. But yes, you can change channel on the top here. So channel is group with this. It's like a trunk radio. You don't actually have radio channels, you have groups of users. So we can change group on the control here. We also have buttons to select users and groups down here too. And we have a contact list. So we can do it numerous different ways.
So the radio users doesn't need to change any of their user behavior principally, because they can find the one for changing the channels, the other one to changing the volume, the PTT button, and the emergency button, correct?
Correct, yes. All the buttons are programmable, so we can make the radio customized to the user's requirements. And it looks and feels just like a regular two-way radio. If somebody's using an analog or a DMR radio, they pick one of these up, they can use it straight away. It's very straightforward.
You mentioned that the buttons are programmable. So what does it mean exactly? So that means I come to you and say, make out of the PTT button now, I don't know, and let's say call request, or how?
Okay, so typically the buttons that are programmed are the orange button on top here, and then we have two buttons. Sorry, going wrong way round with the webcam. So we have two buttons on the side here. These can be programmed. So for example, you might want to assign key lock, so you can lock the radio from making any changes if you're working in an environment where you're always bumping up against things. You don't want it changing channel or pressing a button accidentally. You can lock the keys. So we can assign a button for this. The emergency button on top here, this is to initiate an emergency manually. It can be programmed for this or for other purposes. We also support lone worker and man down. You can program the buttons to turn those on or off. So if you only want lone worker or man down at certain times, that can be turned on and off with buttons too. There's transmit interrupt, so you can interrupt a call if you've got an urgent transmission, an emergency transmission, for example. And we can integrate this with alarm monitoring companies. So if an emergency goes off, it can be received by an alarm monitoring company if you don't have your own dispatcher, for example. And we discussed the over-air programming. All of these things can be changed by programming over the air. One other thing you can change in the radio Kaveh is your customers will have different variants of TASSTA product. They will have the different brands. You can select the brand of APK from our APK store via the radios menu. So it's easy to use the appropriate TASSTA branded app.
Excellent, excellent. And Steve, so let us make a sound check. What do you think? Just
Sure.
to see how loud this device can be.
It's maybe too loud for the microphone.
Okay. Hello, Steve. Can you hear me? Wait.
Yeah, hi, Cafe. Sorry, I'll turn that down a bit.
Okay. Okay. So let's. Hello, Steve. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think it's hard for the microphone.
Yeah, it may be hard for the microphone. It's very loud. Let's try again. I'll turn it down a bit.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay. So let's do it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good. It may come across on the recording. I think the difficulty is we can hear you and obviously this one at the same time, and we have a big distance between us, so there's a little bit of latency on the webcam too. So
no, it is usually the devices I mean, the computers, they have also echo cancellations on and so on. So principally,
yes.
if they hear somebody double, they already automatically try to kill that voice. You know, if it's
maybe
if it
try
goes on the
muting
right
your
way.
speaker. How about muting your microphone on the webcam and trying again, so it just gets audio from my radio? Okay, you're muted.
Steve, I think you need now to mute, right? Or shall we mute both? No, then it makes, yeah. Would it make sense to mute both? No, then it would not make sense. No, wait, I need to mute.
Yes, yes. Technology, eh?
Yes, let's try now. But I tried, right?
Excellent.
Okay, got that. That's recorded.
Yes, that's recorded. Perfect. That was a good idea. Switching off. No, because right now, just yes, you are now in UK and I am in Istanbul. So that's the reason, because I'm traveling. So don't be irritated because I'm sitting in a lounge, you know, so they can find a silent corner. So sometimes the door is going out
Sure.
or is opening. So yes. Perfect, Steve. Yeah, let's go to the next. You mentioned something about accessories. So because
Sure.
yes,
Maybe before we go there, I've got a couple of things that we've got coming that I can tell you about if you're interested for this product.
Shall we talk after the accessories? Because then we go to the future part.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, so let's if it would be okay for you, because what we experience is many times, yes, many people, they have devices. I mean, okay, it's a good thing with your devices that it's principally quite complete for any radio environment, but accessories are always very important because
Sure.
it's always somewhere required. And so you have a set of accessories. Are you doing them yourself, or is it a third-party environment which you are using?
Yeah, we manufacture almost everything ourselves, Cave, so we can control the quality. That's very important. Some of the aftermarket accessories, the quality is not so good, and it reflects badly on the product. If you're using a poor quality accessory, the audio maybe is not so good. It's not as reliable. You know, sometimes the radio can get the blame when it's nothing to do with the radio. So we try and control the quality of the products very carefully. And we have a very vast range of accessories. So we have one-way and six-way chargers. So this is our six-way charger. I don't know whether you can see that.
Yes. Yeah.
And the one-way charger is
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
of course
6. Yes,
just one small part of this.
Yeah.
Now this charger and the one-way charger too can be used on the mains, any mains power throughout the world, but also they can connect to a vehicle 12-volt source. So these are used, for example, by fire brigades in the fire engines, and the radios are stored and charged in the fire engine. So that's another use for the charger. So that's quite unique, and that is a benefit when somebody is maybe working all the time in a vehicle and they can't return to home to charge, they can charge in the vehicle too. Another one of our common accessories is speaker microphone. So again, like the radio, this is fully submersible, very popular in marine applications, and of course, again, I'll mention firefighting because it's quite a common application where there's a lot of water about. This again is submersible and very robust. For other applications, for example, for security, we have an earpiece. This is a soft rubber D-type earpiece, and in line is a PTT switch with the microphone in the top. So this is a lighter duty accessory, for example, for security men on nightclub doors, this sort of thing. And another example is this. This is quite a strange looking device, but it's one on the head. Yes. It has a large PTT, and this is typically used again for firefighters where they're in very noisy environments. It's bone conductive, so it doesn't pick up any external noise at all. So you can be in an incredibly noisy environment, and it picks up the sound from the skull. In this case, we also have throat mic, and that is used where you need absolute, quality audio in the highest noise environments. In addition to these, we got carry cases, heavy duty leather carry cases, and quite a vast range. The best thing to do is for your customers and your viewers to go on the Entel website, because there's many and varied. We've got big heavy duty headsets with boom mics, quite a range.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very, what you mentioned in the beginning, that the accessory and the devices are matched together, because you do the quality control and you make sure that everything is running in harmony and smoothly together.
Sure. And the audio is matched too. The radio automatically adjusts to the accessory. So if you're using a bone conductive accessory, the audio tailoring for the microphone is completely different to a simple microphone.
Yeah, so I would say that sounds like a very high-end radio. if it's possible to say something like that.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think what our R&D team have done is exceptional. It is a very good range of products. I have to admit, I am slightly biased.
Good. And so the next one is you created recently something what it's a gateway, correct? We call it it's an Entel gateway.
Yes.
And the beauty of that is, I mean, why you have it is because I would say because you can do it, because you have the knowledge to do it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So the gateway, I'll show you in a second. It's actually available in two different versions. I'll hold it up as best I can. So this is available in two different versions. It's available with a built-in VHF and UHF, or VHF or UHF radio, and that allows you to connect to DMR Tier 2 or analog radio systems without any physical connection. So it can connect over the air straight to that radio system and then relay those calls over the POC system and vice versa. The gateway itself has two aerial sockets, one for the Wi-Fi antenna to connect to Wi-Fi, and one for the two-way radio network. We also have a LAN port here, so you can wire the Ethernet connection for internet, and then we have an accessory socket here, and this is used on the universal version. And the universal version allows you to connect the gateway to an existing radio system. So if you've got, for example, Kenwood Next Edge, Motorola Capacity Plus or Capacity Max, other technologies, Tetra, P25, MPT 1327, you connect the universal gateway to your radio system, to the repeaters, or to a fixed mobile. And this then allows you to communicate from those other technologies too. So whilst we have a special version with a radio inside, we've also got a universal version that can connect to almost anything.
Okay, so that would mean principally then it doesn't matter what kind of radio system I have. I just take the universal version and connect it to a radio or
Sure.
to the repeater, you said also.
Correct. So you have a simple interface on the back of the gateway, and that connects over the accessory port either to a radio or directly to the repeater, maybe in some cases. Depends on the radio network and how it's configured. There are many ways of doing it.
So principally, we can say there are two versions. One is coming with a radio inside, right?
Yes.
It's a TMR2 radio, and it's running also on analog, principally.
Yes.
And the second version is there's no radio inside, so you need to connect it to a radio or to a repeater, and you can be it can integrate your your POC solution, your devices immediately to P25, DMR tier 2, tier 3, whatever, next edge, Tetra even. So
and
it's
any
a totally universal.
Band. Yeah, completely universal. The radio is the modem, if you like, so it doesn't matter what frequency band, what technology. The gateway is connecting to the radio with audio, so there's just a simple audio connection and some other data connections between the radio and the gateway, and all the work is done by the radio. So if you have a proprietary radio system like Motorola Capacity Plus, Capacity Max, where it would be impossible to do that with other products, you just use the radio to give you the interface into that system.
Okay. You know, we have also a gateway.
Yeah.
And but okay, but if I just for better attendance, because we focus really on, we say this is a gateway, for example, is running only with the Kenwood Next Edge. So we don't have this yeah, I would say this universal gateway. So it depends, you know, which system you have. You say, okay, this is the package you need. But here, in your case, it would be like, it doesn't matter, right? So basically, you don't care what kind of radio system.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, indeed.
And that's great. That's perfect. And so did you test it? I just asking. Did you test it with Tetra and Capacity Plus and NextEdge? Is it everything?
It's already being used with Kenwood NextEdge. It's being used with Motorola Capacity Plus. It has been tested with other technologies by our dealers, P25 Tetra, etc. So it's either being used or has been already tested with these. But again, it's very simple to integrate, and it's technology agnostic. It doesn't matter what the radio is doing, because the interface to the radio is quite basic. As long as you've got the appropriate interface, then the RF side of things is dealt with by the radio you connect it to.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I wanted to ask you. Is it easy to configure and integrate? I mean, let's say.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's 6 wires maybe to connect over the accessory port. It's got lots of future-proofness in it. We even have a port checker built in, so when you connect it to the network, sometimes ports are blocked by the customer if you're connecting to an existing network. So it has a built-in automated port checker. It will tell you if any ports are blocked, so you can ask the customer to unblock the port. So it makes installation very easy and very quick, super quick.
Yeah, that's nice. I like it. But that is a new product, right?
Yes, fairly new.
Something.
This is the 3rd version now, but it's a new product.
Okay. Excellent. No, I like it. So I need to ask our guys to contact you after the session. Because you know, we have all this, we have also all the systems in the office. But we always love to see simple alternative solutions. And I so far, yeah, exactly. We work with your R&D together, so it is always driven by simplicity, and also that, yeah, the users doesn't need to have so deep knowledge to be able to configure and create all this environment all together.
Sure. Yeah, the gateway, like the radio, is over-the-air programmed, so you can change its programming whilst it's on the customer's premises. So if you need to make a change, you haven't got to visit the customer's premises to reprogram the radios or the gateway. You can do it all over the internet.
Exactly. This is what I wanted to know. Because the devices, they have no, okay, they have small screen, but they have no buttons for putting inside any Wi-Fi code. They don't have for the username, password, port, or whatever. So how does that work? So you have a separate program to do that?
We have the ability to connect to the radio using a smartphone or a laptop, for example. And that gives you a web page that gives you some more advanced settings you can set locally. So if you want to put in a Wi-Fi password, you can do it by this method. So it's very quick and easy. Some customers don't want to share their Wi-Fi passwords, quite rightly. So we give them the ability to do it themselves locally, or it can be programmed, if they're happy to give you the details, it can all be programmed remotely. But sometimes, for security reasons, it has to be programmed by the radio, and that's, as I say, we create a hotspot, you browse to the web page that is the radio, and the radio settings come up on a web page on your device. Very simple.
That means you have it's a network management control system, right? That you have this web browser, and you can configure your radios and your gateway all together over the air.
Yeah, well, we have two ways of doing it. So the dealer can log into our portal and configure the radio settings via our portal, or the customer can log into the radio locally on the radio's own hotspot and go to a web page that is generated by the radio and configure the radio locally. So if the customer wants to keep some details private, they can do that themselves and program those settings themselves.
You just mentioned dealer and customer. I mean, so the customer has not the same rights like a dealer, or how should I understand that?
Okay, so normally within our industry, yeah, typically the dealer does all the work for the customer. So the dealer will contact the customer and say, you would like a radio system, sir, how would you like it configured? And the dealer does all that configuration for the customer in the main. But again, sometimes with certain users, we found out that some users don't want to share particularly Wi-Fi access details. So we added the ability for the customer to also do this. We have various levels of menu we can set in the radio. We can have a very simple menu, or we can have a menu that gives you all the settings in the radio too. So there's a lot of configuration that the customer could do, or the dealer might say, I want to keep it simple for my customer, make the radio super simple, and that can be configured too. It's very flexible. The idea is that we make it flexible so no matter what the customer wants, the dealer can configure it exactly how they want it.
Nice. That's perfect. So, Steve, I mean, it is a quite complete package what you're offering. So it's principally it's a some people, I would say, it's a one-stop shop. Would it be correct to say something like that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we try and do everything. So our dealers don't have to go elsewhere for anything, you know, whether it be an accessory, a service. We provide a very high level after sales service with fast turnaround on repairs. It's the whole package, you know. It's not just about selling a radio, it's about giving the support too. That's very important.
Yes, exactly. I mean, yeah, we are working since a long time together. Yeah, it is by the end of the day, the service after you delivered, principally even counts maybe even more than what you create in this one event of the day of delivery.
Yes. Yeah. It's
and, and, to, to, and talking about that, Steve, so um, how does it work? Let's say my device is broken. I'm sitting in, I don't know, let's say I am in Emirates, I'm in Dubai. So how is how do you yeah, offer this service? Do I need to send my devices always back to UK, or do you have regional technical hubs? How is the service organized?
okay. So Entel, as a manufacturer, has its three regional hubs, as we mentioned before: UK, Philippines, and Korea. But we have a global dealer network, and the dealers generally look after the local customers. So there will be dealers in Dubai where you buy your radio, and those dealers will then look after the customer with the full backing of Entel. They may uh, do repairs locally, they may swap the radio out, they may send it back to Entel, but whichever way, we always give our dealers all the options so they can provide the best possible service to their local customers.
Okay, so principally you have your own, let's say, hubs, but the dealers are getting the capability that they can offer, let's say, up to specific level the service, because, and also they are, I mean, how many dealers do you have? You have, I think,
Oh, it's
many.
hundreds.
Yeah, so
Hundreds of dealers globally, yes.
yeah. So, and so that means principally, yeah, I don't need to worry because there is always some dealer somewhere around the corner that I can forward my device and get the right
Indeed.
assistant.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
We can always, if you don't know who your local dealer is, you can always contact Entel, either in the UK, Philippines, or Korea, depending on who is most local to you in your time zone, and we will always put you
yeah.
in touch with the dealer.
What do you plan for the future? You just started to say us a little bit what is coming next, and I stopped you and I said, no, wait, Steve, let us talk about it a little bit later. So tell me.
Sure. Well, okay. So for the radios, we've got full duplex call capability coming soon. Text messaging. On the accessory socket of the radio, we're looking at the ability for you to be able to generate a text message from another device into the radio. So if, for example, you have an intruder alarm system or a fire alarm system or building management systems, you can send a text message automatically from those systems to your DN radios. We do that a lot, with older systems, and we're going to be doing it with DMR2. So integration with systems is something we've always done, and our dealers have always done. It goes beyond just voice communications. It's about providing safety and security and improving processes, and time is money. And if you're running a plant and some equipment goes down, your engineers need to know about it as quickly as possible. The message can be delivered straight to their radio from the device that's gone faulty. So we can do all these things too. We're looking at indoor location services for the future. We have GPS right now, but TASSTA offer an indoor location solution which we're looking to implement. A version of DN radio with a body cam for security personnel, etc. And we can also send. We're looking at sending emergencies with the location information direct to blue light services. We know we can do this in the UK. It may be possible in other countries. So if you have an emergency and you don't have a control room or anybody you can contact, it can always be sent to the emergency services directly with your location, so they know where to respond. Even if you can't speak, it can do this.
So from the hardware point of view, what I found very interesting is, so you are going to have a camera also inside.
Yes, that is one of the things on our roadmap.
And is it also possible to use it as a body cam? or so because these body cams, they have more video stabilization features inside and so on. Would it be something like that?
I don't know the full details yet. R&D are working with a specialist that we've teamed up with regards to body cams. So again, the full details of what we're doing is not available at this time, but I'm
Yeah.
sure we will consider all the key things. We always listen to our customers. One thing we like to do is ask our global dealer base, we're thinking of doing this. What is it that you need it to do? What's key to you? What's the must-haves? What are the nice-to-haves? And we take all that data from global input and then develop the product based on our dealer feedback.
And Steve, so I mean, you mentioned, for example, okay, it's on the roadmap. Can you tell us roughly the time? Would it be more end of 21 or would it be more 22? So just can you share with us roughly, just I mean, not on the date exactly, not it's 1st of December or something.
We haven't discussed timescales yet, Kaveh. It's very early in the investigation and asking our dealers what's required. So until we've got a full set of requirements, we can't start looking at timescales to implement. It'll also be driven to an extent by how much customers want this facility. If we go out to our dealers and they say there's no market for it, then its priority won't be as high. We obviously have to do things on a priority basis, but we'll wait and see. Once we've got the feedback from the dealers, we'll have a much better idea. Maybe we can have another session.
Yes, absolutely. And as you mentioned, also indoor localization. So that means the devices also supporting Bluetooth, correct?
Yes, it supports GPS, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. So we can use any of those location technologies, Bluetooth beacons, of course.
Yeah, then I think we should not be too far away to offer Bluetooth indoor localization with that device. So
yeah, it's all in the hardware. It's just a matter of again, it's doing things based on priorities. We've had some inquiries about indoor localization, but nothing overly serious yet. If somebody says, yeah, we need it, of course, we'll implement it more urgently. But these are all things we do have planned. Once we've got some of the other things that we're doing done for people that have orders they want us to deliver product for.
You mentioned in the beginning also that you are using Qualcomm processors. So that is not many vendors are doing that because it's it's already in high-end environment.
Yes.
And what are you thinking about 5G? So do you have it in mind, or is it something you say not now? Let's see when it should be interesting. Or
5G, of course, is on the roadmap. It will bring benefits. It's probably 1 to 2 years away, I would think, before we start sort of having products that's 5G capable. But it's certainly something that we've already looked at and we're planning for.
Excellent. Yeah, I can just, I mean, from my point, I can maybe push you to do it faster because I feel, it's. I was surprised last time I went through Emirates, and there is everywhere 5G. So I took my device, it is 5G, and it's everywhere available. I was surprised because in Germany we don't have that environment, but I believe it might be interesting for especially for customers. They want to invest in that devices and they are going to use that device maybe the next 5 years, that they are ready for it, and not that they think after 2 years, okay, now I cannot go to 5G.
Well, I think there's two things here. First of all, the performance of the product on 4G, even on 3G, is extremely good. The hardware has been optimized. As you say, we're using high-end processors. The whole product has been designed for quality and performance first and foremost. And you know, when there is 5G, there will still be 4G, 3G fallback. And what the radio is used for, the performance you're getting with 3G and 4G is very good. And I don't think anyone's going to say, oh, I must have a 5G radio, because I think the benefits for a two-way radio are limited. When we start talking about streaming video and other things, then clearly that's a potential benefit. But for normal speech communications, I don't think having 5G is going to make a massive difference.
No, definitely not. I mean, that should not be the deal breaker for voice communication. Yes. No, that's great. I mean, anything else what's coming up you want to share with us in the future?
Yeah, I mean, with regards to other products, we have other things that we're doing that are sort of a little further off right now and not appropriate to mention for sure right now. So we're always looking to the future, of course. The thing is, Entel, we have applications, customer applications from armed forces to government, utilities, blue lights, retail, leisure, hospitality, a whole range of applications, education. There's many areas that we operate in. So, we're looking at making the product meet those requirements first, and then let's look in the future how the industry goes. We're already changing. Originally we had AM radio, then we went FM radio, then we went digital radio. Now we're looking at POC, and that brings lots of benefits. And I think we need to see where the market's going to go for our industry. We're approaching this from a two-way radio point of view. So we're focusing on two-way radio products. We're not looking at phone type products with big touch screens and that, because our user base wants a two-way radio. There are applications where people will want smart devices, but that's not where Entel specializes. But that's not to say we may not go there in the future. Let's see.
Yeah, that sounds good. It sounds very promising. And I have another very important question, maybe not the most important, but also quite important. If, let's say, somebody now saw that device and said, okay, nice. Actually, how many hours, what is the battery life? Just, how many hours can I use the device?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Our users typically will use it for an 8-hour shift. I know it does more than 8 hours on 5590 battery cycle, for example. I don't have the exact figure to hand.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so too, because it's there is no a big screen, and it is focusing on the major features which you need. That means push to talk, emergency communication, emergency. So it should be. I mean, I don't have it also right now from the top of my mind, but I would think about maybe around 16-20 hours, I believe, let's say in a regular case.
It's certainly quite a long time for sure. I mean, as you say, with a small economical screen, we have very carefully designed it to be a very efficient radio, so it's not drawing too much current. With a smart device, you have a very big screen, and that uses a lot of current, as you say. So these are some of the benefits. This is why we can get good endurance, and of course, the sound is important, but we've got a very efficient Class D amplifier. So whilst we have a very powerful audio, it's a very efficient amplifier. So again, we've designed it very carefully to meet the requirements of everyday use.
Steve, I have another. Yes, I have a question about. If now we saw I think it's very impressive what Entel created there. And how does it work if somebody wants to purchase that device?
Okay, so Entel supplies via its dealers. We don't sell directly. So if you want to purchase Entel products, you would go to your local Entel dealer, either a Google search, or obviously you can contact one of Entel's offices and they will put you in touch with your local dealer if you can't find one with a simple search. That's the easiest way I would suggest. I mean, one of the things that I think is very impressive about the whole solution with the TASSTA application embedded in the Entel radio is that it can be instantly deployed anywhere. There's no infrastructure to install. With multi-network SIMs, you've got a high degree of redundancy. There's a high degree of redundancy in the servers and the internet connections. And sometimes I get asked, because our dealers are traditional, they use traditional radio with base stations, etc. How is POC reliability in comparison to traditional two-way radio systems? And I would say if you've got access to 3, 4, 5 networks, hundreds of base stations, high degree of redundancy, it's as good as and probably better than many traditional radio systems.
No, I mean, really, I'm very impressed about this ecosystem and the flexibility in that. Because yes, I can have the device, I can put it with my software. I mean, it's coming like a package. I can choose my own SIM card if I want. If I don't want, I can ask it from you. I can ask for a on-premise server, or I can be in your cloud. And if I want to have a gateway, so I choose, this, you have two kind of gateways. I would say the heart of the radio user should not ask for more. And I have this super device which is super robust and giving me 100% the touch and feel of the radio device.
Yeah,
with all features.
I mean, if you're looking for an ultra durable, simple to use handheld radio like form factor as POC, honestly, I think the DN is probably the best out there on the market right now. I truly do.
I think that's a good statement for closing the webinar. So thank you very much, Steve, for your time. It was a pleasure, as usual, talking to you and seeing you and asking you. I mean, we never did something like that as before, so it was
forgive me. This is all new to me, so it was fun.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it was also fun for me. Really, I enjoyed it, and I can just we need to do it more often. So let's do it. Let's agree on that. Yeah.
Indeed. Thank you, Kaveh.
Thank you very much, Steve. Stay safe. See you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.